How you guys doing? It's Sunday afternoon, and it's been a little while since I've done a Facebook Live, and I thought I'd come on and just say hi, see what's going on. How's everybody doing? So, yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about doing installations today, and maybe some tricks, some tips that you have for doing installations, some shortcuts, some ways to save time, to save labor. As you guys know, I have a few gadgets that I've put together for doing installations, and in fact, I've got the 3D printer running right now. Print some stuff up. So if you hear some noise in the background, that's what it is. So some of the stuff that I've come up with, I kind of keep secret. You know, I'm working on licensing ideas to other companies that do manufacturing and stuff. Some that you probably know and have heard of. But most of the stuff that I come up with, I've just basically released to the public. And the way it works when you're doing patent law, I mean, just to oversimplify it, is that if you release your idea publicly, it becomes part of the public domain. And anybody can use it or make it, and it cannot be patented. So a lot of the tools that I've come up with, I've never sought a patent on them. I've just released them into the public domain. Now, I manufacture some of these things. Some of these things I print myself on my 3D printer. There are a couple of tools that I've had manufactured by somebody else here in the States. Yeah, mostly I just kind of release them. It's just kind of as a public service. If you go to my store, you can go to glassgadgets.com, glassgadget.com, it's singular. And you can check out what I have. It's glassgadget.com. And those tools there that you can purchase, they're all really reasonably priced, and the prices include shipping. So basically, you know, it's just enough for me to cover the cost of making stuff and shipping it out. You know, just to, you know, make it worth my while to do it. I'm not getting rich at it. Hey, I see that Steve has joined. How you doing, Steve? Brandon Gonzalez is on. Good to see you, man. Austin, very good. Hey, thanks for joining me. Yeah, you know, like I was saying, these things are available, but I've got some other ideas. I've got some other gadgets that I've come up with that I haven't actually put on the store yet. So I just thought I'd kind of show a couple of these things to you and just kind of give you an inside look at what I'm working on right now. And see if you have any thoughts about it, or, you know, any suggestions or ideas, or if these are the sort of things that you might be able to use. I'm really just trying to be of service. You know, I'm just trying to give back. You know, the industry's been very good to me and my family. Been in the glass business. I'm, you know, second generation glazer. My dad was a glazer. My older brother's a glazer. Still works in the union. For one of the bigger companies here in Northern California area. Yeah, I just want to try to give back a little bit. So anyway, so one of the ideas I have is a problem I've run into is that recently I started doing a lot more fixed transoms as support instead of like headers. Now, this is something I've seen on the Facebook group quite a bit, as people started to use these fixed transoms like instead of a header. You guys know what I'm talking about. And this may be old news to you, but really this is something that I've learned just recently, just from watching the posts on Facebook. And I started doing that, and I really like it, and my customers really like it because it allows you, to reduce the amount of aluminum, header bars or support bars or whatever, So the challenge that I run up against doing fixed transoms, working by myself, is just it's really hard to hold the bracket, the glass-to-glass bracket that holds the fixed transom in place. Because usually it's like two pieces of glass, a door hinging in the middle, and the hinge side panel's a little bit too wide to really support the door without additional support. And that's usually the context in which I'm using this. So I came up with an idea for how to do that and make it a little easier for one guy. And this is what I came up with. You see this? So it's just a really simple little utility. And this part is just the right size to take your bracket and fit it in there. See where I'm going with this? Now this hangs over the top of your glass and it'll hold your bracket in place. Pretty simple. So the idea is that I made this so that from the top edge of this hook to the center of the bracket, once it's in there, is exactly 6 inches. Because I put all of my clips at 6 inches down from the top. That's where I place my hinge cutouts too. It's at 6 inches from the top of the enclosure. So it made sense to me, I'll just make this like that, so that when I hang this over the top, it holds the holes right in the center of my holes, which are centered on 6 inches. Boom, simple. In fact, if you've got a pair of them, you have one on each side like that, right? And then this is especially good for a corner. If you've got a corner bracket, you really need 2 of them. One to bend around that corner and this corner. So it works. Simple. Is that something you could use? I don't know. If you think it is, I might just put it up for sale on the store. Again, I'm not seeking a patent on this or anything. This is me right now, live on Facebook. I'm releasing this to the public. So this is what it's called, public disclosure, which means that this particular little thing is now in the public domain. So you can make one of these yourself, and I've got no rights to stop you because I'm just sharing this information with you. One thing that I did realize after doing this and trying it is like, wow, it works great. It's pretty low tech, right? But that I know that not everybody centers their clamps or their clips at 6 inches on center from the top of the enclosure. Some people do it at 8 inches. In fact, a lot of people do. Put their hinges and their brackets at 8 inches on center. So I could make this thing adjustable, or I could make another unit that's actually 8 inches from there to the center. But what if it ends up 7 inches on center? And the thing is, with a lot of these transoms, they really don't end up being exactly there. You want to make that transom a little bit smaller, so those clips and brackets may not all line up. So I've got another idea, a modification for this, and I'm going to start working on that. I'm not going to tell you what it is now, but I'll come back and show you when I come up with that. I've got another even kind of more clever idea than that. So I don't know. What do you think? Hey, it's good to see you guys. I see Dan's on. I see Michael's on. I see Chris Sereno's on. How's it going, man? William, thanks for joining us. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. So what do you think? Is that something you think you might be able to use? Do you see some problems with it? A lot of times the feedback I get from people more often than anything is that, oh, I use a piece of tape to do that. And I get that. You know, it's like I used to use a piece of tape, you know, to hold stuff in place all the time. I used to have rolls of tape all the time. And that's cool. I mean, I'm not knocking that. I mean, if a piece of tape will hold your part in place while you can get a screw in there, that's awesome. It's inexpensive. It works, and that's great. You know, for me, one thing one issue that I have is that if a customer comes in and sees me working, I don't want them to walk into the bathroom and see me like putting a bunch of tape, you know, holding something in place, you know. Especially, you know, there's that customer who wants to watch like the entire process. And when I've got a guy like that, or even a lady, you know, who's a customer who wants to watch me, man, I want to have all of my stuff look pretty professional. And it's like a piece of tape just doesn't look that professional. And that's why I like to have some kind of a manufactured thing, you know. And it's like, you know, anything that I make like this is not going to be real expensive. I want to make it as affordable as possible, because it's not going to be useful if it's too expensive. But just something that's, you know, when a customer comes in, they're watching me, and I pull out my little gadgets and start using them. They're like, wow, that's cool. Where did that come from? Where did you get that? It gives me an opportunity to kind of, you know, tell them about it. It's fun. So yeah, Dan's asking about what's the reason for the 6-inch rather than 8-inch preference. He's just wondering. That's just my preference. I don't know. You know, it's like I like that 6-inch distance, and I think probably the main reason I do is because I like to space my bottom clamps at 6 inches on a standard like 30-inch, you know, 28-inch panel. I'll normally space my bottom clips at 6 inches, and so it just makes it, you know, a little bit more balanced if my top clamp is at 6 inches and if my hinges are at 6 inches. You know, it just feels good to me. But so that's just me. But yeah, like I say, my idea for the improvement on this tool is going to allow you to put it wherever you want. So it won't matter if it ends up at 6.5 inches or 8.5 inches or 4 inches or whatever. It should still work. So yeah. Thanks, Dan. That's cool. Appreciate that. The question. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? Suggestions? So another idea that I had, and that I had, this is another thing that I made and I haven't actually ever offered in my store or anything, is I came up with this right here. See that? What in the world is that thing? Strange. I'll show you what this is. So I like these really good levels. How about you? What kind of level do you use? I buy these like really good levels. So anyway, I had this idea to make one of these things, and what this does is those little knobs there go right in this hole. Like that. So now I can hang this on the edge of a door. In fact, here, let me see. I happen to have a glass door right here. Let's see if I can capture this. So yeah, so I can actually hang my level on a glass panel like that, and then using my hands, I can, you know, lean it in and out and and see if my panel's plumb. It's pretty clever, huh? I don't really have to use it very often, but when I do, it's a pretty cool little solution. What do you think? Yeah, you know. Again, this is something I don't have any intellectual property on. It's an idea I came up with. Just having fun with my 3D printer, modeling stuff up, printing it up. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think you'd use something like this? I mean, what would you be willing to pay for it? Should I offer it on my store? I don't know. It's for fun. You know, I put in shower doors for a living. You know, I mean that's what I do. But that's just kind of a hobby, and yeah, who knows? Never know. Maybe I'll come up with something really brilliant someday that everybody needs. But it's a lot of fun, and I'll tell you, this Facebook group, Shower Door Pros group, has been a lot of fun for me and a real source of inspiration. I feel like I've made a bunch of friends. You know, I check it way too often. You know, probably like 40 or 50 times a day. I think my wife thinks I'm crazy or something, probably. Okay, let's see here. Chris, that's brilliant. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that. Brandon says he likes it. Dan says it looks interesting. Make one for you channel as well. Brandon, what do you mean, make one for you channel? Elaborate on that. You've got my curiosity. Joe says he digs it. Dan says, do you pre-cut hard H's and other sweeps before leaving for customer's house? You know, I do. I try to do as much prep in the shop as I possibly can. For example, I'll put the hinges on my doors on my glass table. I'll put my table down. I actually add diamond seal treatment to all my heavy glass doors, which is pretty much all I rarely do any like manufactured like 1/4 inch shower enclosures anymore. I just kind of price myself out of that market. Because I'm doing the work myself, I've managed to kind of get into a real niche in my area of just kind of higher end customers. Anyway, I don't know, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but all my frameless enclosures I treat in the shop, and I use diamond seal. There's diamond seal, there's diamond fusion, Tec-On. You know, there's a number of these different hydrophobic glass treatments out there, and so I do that in the shop. And so when I get my glass in, I'll put it on the table, I'll inspect it, check it, you know, to make sure they made it right, that they made it the right size, that they put the cutouts in the right spots, make sure there's no chips, dings, scratches, seeds, you know, and all that. And after I've inspected it all, I'll diamond seal it. And then after I apply the diamond seal treatment, I'll put my hinges on the doors. And I like put tape on them and stuff to protect them so they don't get scratched or anything in transport. But I do cut my sweeps. Like I don't use a lot of like edge seals. Try to avoid that. I do use them sometimes. Sometimes you get out in the field and it's like, oh man, you just kind of need one because the walls are just whacked out, you know. And but I cut up all my parts, even my sweeps, as much as I possibly can in advance. So you can hang your level on your channel. Yeah, so This hook is big enough for that to hang over a U-channel. I don't think it's big enough to hang over a header bar. This channel here, the one for the clips, I just love the way that fits in there. It holds it. You know, it's just, I love the precision that I can get from 3D printing. It's just still trips me out. But yeah, if you take a look at this, you see how big I made that. I made it because for one thing, either 3/8 or 1/2 inch, and I have this little leg here that just kind of holds the space once it's hooked over there. Then also sometimes I'll use a piece of channel on the top when I'm installing a transom. If I'm using a fixed transom and I buy it myself, I have a trick where I put a U-channel on top of the transom and then tape it out in place. And then I kind of hang it in place. And Brandon, you've probably seen this video on my Patreon site because I know you're a Patreon supporter. And thanks for that. So yeah, I purposely made this big enough so that it would hang over that and work that way. But yeah, I'm already in the process of kind of redesigning this. What else have I got? I've got another idea for another thing for the industry. This is something that I think I'm going to try to license. So I'm kind of playing that a little closer to the vest. I'm going to bring it to, you know, the usual suspects out there and see if one of the bigger manufacturers wants to license an idea from me and manufacture it and then just give me a royalty. So once I get closer to that, I'll kind of show you what that is. But in the meantime, I'm still working on that. You guys got any ideas? Anything you're working on, or anything that you've seen lately that's really handy or really cool that will help people kind of speed up their installations, or make them more accurate, make them more profitable, what have you? Let's see here. Cool. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. I don't know how long I've been doing this now. Let's see. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to stay on for a long time. Just wanted to kind of say hi, check in, see how you guys are doing, show you what I'm working on. Nick's asking me when I use a header on 3/8, do I use full vinyl or just some pieces? That's a good question. It kind of depends on the configuration. You know, if you've got a neo angle or a right angle enclosure and you're using a header for that, the geometry of the enclosure kind of helps you, you know what I mean? It kind of holds stuff in place, and really I find like if I'm doing a neo angle, sometimes I really don't need the vinyl at all because just the shape of the header kind of holds the glass in place. And then when you snap in the filler in the door opening, that will kind of hold the glass in place too. And then I'll just run a bead of clear silicone on both sides. But when I'm doing an inline enclosure, it seems like that kind of enclosure really needs the vinyl. And it's okay because it's easier to use it there too, because you're just kind of sticking that header on all at once. So in that case, I'll normally cut the vinyl like the full length of the glass, and stick it on there. But again, I'm trying to get away from using header at all. I mean, I really like this idea of using a fixed transom in place of a support bar, basically. And it's pretty easy to sell to a customer. I can tell them, look, you need some support here at the top. You know, they've got like a 3-piece inline enclosure, for example, and it's like 90 inches wide. I mean, there's just no way that you're going to do that without some support at the top. Either the glass has to go all the way to the ceiling, you need a header bar or something. And it's pretty easy for me to sell the customer the idea of, hey, look, we can have the fixed panels go up a little higher and then put a transom in there, and that will be your support, and you won't have any header bar. It'll be all glass, and you'll get all the support you need. Even if it's a little bit more money, they like the idea. So I'm doing that a lot more and a lot less headers, which is great because they suck. I mean, I hate it. You know, it's like how many times I've got onto a job, pulled the header out of the tube, and it's like scratched or something, or even just a tiny little ding. I mean, if it's in the middle of the bar, it's like screwed. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You know, I got away from using the rounded traditional header bars and using just the flat ones, you know, the square that's flat on both sides, for that reason too. For one thing, I like it better. I think it looks better. I think it matches kind of the trend right now of just more square, straight lines, stuff like that. But the other thing that's great about those is you can flip it around, and if there's a mar or a scratch or something, you can put it on the inside of the enclosure. But even still, they're just a pain to cut and to work with on site. Anyway, hey, thanks again, you guys, for checking in and watching. Thanks for your involvement in the group. Man, it's you guys and your work, your photos, your input that makes the group great. You may have noticed that I posted something, a new unit. So the Facebook groups has this feature that allows you to do kind of these training units. And I think that for our group, this is a great feature that we could take advantage of. So I'm just kind of just monkeying around, experimenting. That's just what I do. I just experiment with things all the time. I'm hoping you guys will help me with this. So this is what I'm looking for. If you have time, and I know this is tricky, but if you have time on a job to take a video of the layout process, if you're out measuring for a shower enclosure and you are able to videotape that, video it on your phone and share it, I'd like to plug it into that unit so that people who are moving into that field of work, from installing maybe to doing layout, will have that as a resource to watch. I mean, there are some real tricks, as you know, if you do any layout, to getting those dimensions right, getting those outages right, and recording those in a way that you can send it off to a manufacturer and they can make your glass right so it'll fit the opening. So I think that's just a really cool idea for how to do that. I'll try to do that myself, get some video of me doing some layout and just some of the tricks that I use for doing that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's, you get out to a job, you're wanting to get it done fast. There aren't that many occasions where you can really take extra time to set up a camera and make sure that you're getting good shots of what you're doing. So if anybody can do that, I really appreciate that. And we'll plug it into that unit. I think we'll put together a unit about doing layout. And if we get several videos from different people about different aspects of it, because people have different techniques, and some people use lasers, some people use levels. I use levels a lot. I use lasers sometimes. If it's a steam shower enclosure, if it's something that goes to the ceiling, I'll always use a laser. It's just the best way to do it. But yeah, having those different methods that people can look at and learn from, I think would be awesome. And yeah, let's just continue to make our industry better and better. Shower doors are where it's at. They're awesome. People love them. There's a real future in this business. You guys are like the best as far as I'm concerned. I see the work that you do. So I'm really proud to be just in the group, and humble by like some of the work I see you guys do, and not embarrassed to admit that I'm learning stuff from watching you guys work. So thanks for sharing that, and being willing to do that. And Sunday, tomorrow's Monday. It's probably later where you're at. So I'm gonna get off of here, and go have some dinner. But yeah, hey, you guys have a great evening. Have a great week. Keep up the good work, and we'll do another one of these Facebook Live things, sometime soon. All right, man. Cheers. I'm out of here.